Next comes tenant inducement allowance. To give a background of what tenant inducement is, suppose if I'm a landlord, I have a tenant coming in who is a commercial tenant mostly, and they, for example, they are constructing or not constructing, but they are doing some leasehold improvements, and they will have their restaurant set up there. So they will have to incur some capital cost, right? So landlords generally help the tenants by giving them some tenant inducements. Okay, for tenant point of view, tenant inducements are a reduction from their leasehold improvement. But question is what happens to from the landlord point of view. Okay, previous Supreme Court decisions have found that tenant inducements are usually a current expense, but this is a very good example. You cannot copy paste a judgment. You have to check the facts. Okay, so in our case, taxpayer paid $2 million as tenant inducement. This represents 2/5 of the building cost, which is really, really, really high. Okay, so let's see what tax courts have determined. Tax treatments of inducement depends on specific circumstances as well as the intended effect of the expense from both a practical and commercial point of view. Okay, so we have to look at the facts. In the current case, it was 2/5 of the building cost. Like you are just having your tenant do capital expenditure on behalf of you and claiming that tenant inducement as current. No, not possible. You will have to claim it as a capital expense. So we have to be reasonable. We have to look at the position. We have to take position very, very, very diligently. And again, as court said, not simply a category of current, it's not simply a category of current expense, but rather must be examined on its own merit. Okay. This is applicable to, I can say, each and every category of expense. I mean, CRA has guidance on what constitutes a current and capital, and what constitutes a capital. If CRA has mentioned something as a current expense, do check why. Okay. Or if you have read some previous court cases, like in this case, previous Supreme Court case, where they have mentioned a particular thing or they adjust some particular thing, you have to understand why. There's always a big analysis there, and that helps you taking decision.